I am Anime Octopus. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into a fanfic scenario. What if Naruko was kidnapped by Iwagakure? Disclaimer, the content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get started. Most stories begin with a birth, the raising of a child, the path to adulthood, and the accomplishments the child makes in their life. But Naruko's story is a little different. Her birth was indeed extraordinary, but what made it truly magical was the way she grew and the challenges she faced, not through harm or cruelty, but through wonder and resilience. Naruko was born in the village of Konoha under a sky painted with streaks of orange and gold. From the very start, she was full of energy and curiosity, her bright yellow hair standing on end as though it had a life of its own. But Naruko's childhood wasn't ordinary. When she was only 4, a mysterious force whisked her away to the Solid Stone Academy, a hidden school built inside a mountain, where only the most unusual children were sent. She wasn't taken because she had done anything wrong, but because the elders believed she had a unique gift that needed guidance. Naruko's guardian, a kind-hearted woman named Hana, was sent to care for her. Hana taught Naruko about the world inside Solid Stone Academy, the secret passageways, the hidden gardens, the glowing crystal fountains that whispered stories when touched. Though Hana was gentle, she often became tired because the mountain school was far from the warm sunlight she loved. Naruko learned to be brave and thoughtful, always helping her guardian with small acts of care. Even at 6, Naruko had a sharp mind and a tender heart. She discovered friends in unexpected places, a gentle giant named Goro, who loved to paint flowers on the walls, and a clever little fox named Kitsu, who always led her to the coziest nooks in the academy. These companions helped Naruko navigate the vast halls and winding stairways, teaching her that courage could come in many forms. One day, while exploring a hidden courtyard with her friends, Naruko found a tiny, glowing creature tangled in vines. It looked like a teddy bear come to life, with tiny wings that shimmered in the sun. "Hello there," Naruko whispered softly, untangling it. "Are you lost too?" The creature blinked its sparkling eyes at her and then transformed into a shimmering, tall figure of light. "I am the reflection of your courage," it said. "I am all you can become, and all the goodness you can bring into the world. Remember, Naruko, only by believing in yourself can you grow into your true potential." Naruko gasped, a mix of awe and delight flooding her. She realized that this magical being was showing her not a threat, but a mirror of her own heart, strong, bright, and capable of amazing things. From that day on, Naruko trained not with weapons or harsh lessons, but by discovering the magic hidden in every corner of the academy, learning kindness, wisdom, and cleverness. Years passed, and Naruko grew taller and stronger. She became known throughout the hidden mountains as the girl who could solve any puzzle, calm any frightened heart, and bring warmth wherever she went. Her friends, Goro, Kitsu, and even Hana, who had regained her strength, stood by her side, amazed at the bright, unstoppable energy she carried. Naruko never forgot the lessons she had learned as a child, that fear could be overcome with courage, that darkness could be softened with light, and that true strength came from the heart. And as she stepped out into the world beyond the Solid Stone Academy, she carried with her the magic of friendship, wisdom, and the knowledge that she could shape her own destiny. Naruko's story wasn't about battles or cruelty. It was about growth, kindness, and the incredible power of believing in oneself. And in the years to come, everyone who met her felt the same warmth she had always carried, a glow that promised hope, adventure, and endless possibility. "Huh? Girl? I thought you had vanished." "The girl is here," Naruko said, holding a glimmering shard of crystal in her hand. It caught the sunlight in a way that made her look fearless, even to the largest and grumpiest of men. "But I am still here. Do you still want me to help you?" "And no. Don't." The man stammered, suddenly unsure of himself. Even as a child, Naruko had always been clever. She followed the faint trails of magic left behind by creatures and whispers of the wind. That curiosity and courage earned her a name among the villagers, the Brave Spark. One day, Naruko was sent to the deepest, darkest part of the village library, a place long thought to be too dreary and confining for anyone to survive in. The room was tiny, barely larger than a closet, with walls that felt like they pressed in from all sides. But Naruko did not surrender to fear. She looked at the darkness and whispered, "I will be bigger than this room." And so she was. Each night, rainwater would seep through the cracks, pooling on the floor. Each night, Naruko would play with it, imagining rivers, oceans, and waterfalls in faraway lands. She learned to swim in her imagination, to dive into stories and soar above the clouds. With every passing day, she grew stronger, not just in body, but in mind. She discovered books hidden in the library's nooks and crannies. Books about stars, dragons, distant kingdoms, and magical creatures. She learned to read quickly, and soon she was reading 3 books a day. Each book was a new adventure, and each adventure made her braver. She also trained her body, stretching, leaping, and rolling, imagining herself racing through forests and climbing mountains taller than any tower. By the time she had finished every book in the library, she had grown tall and nimble, with muscles that were as strong as her spirit. The villagers began to notice Naruko's brilliance. They watched as she solved puzzles no one else could, tamed wild animals with her kindness, and created inventions from scraps that seemed useless. Even the grumpiest guards and oldest villagers started to respect her. One morning, a small messenger bird appeared at the library window, carrying a note with a single word, "Bird." Naruko giggled. She had never learned to read that word yet, but the bird's bright eyes told her the note was a gift. She imagined soaring through the skies like the bird, and from that day forward, she studied harder than ever. Years passed, and Naruko became known far and wide as the girl who could turn the impossible into the possible. Villagers sought her guidance, children followed her everywhere, and the magical creatures of the forest whispered her name with admiration. Naruko's heart remained kind, even as she grew stronger. She used her wisdom to help others, to teach those who had lost hope, and to protect the forests, rivers, and skies she had explored in her imagination. And though she had once been trapped in a tiny, gloomy room, Naruko never forgot it. It had taught her patience, courage, and the power of her own mind. She had become a hero not by defeating anyone else, but by mastering herself and spreading hope wherever she went. The world was hers to explore, not to conquer. And she did so with a bright laugh, a clever mind, and a heart that could light up even the darkest library. Even the elements seemed to cheer her on. The people in the village had listened to Naruko's clever plans, eager to help someone so kind and brave. Even if her journey had been long and tiring, she felt proud of every step she had taken. Naruko gently carried her old stuffed fox, keeping it close as a reminder of home. The months passed quickly as she moved to Konoha with her friends, Tori, Goken, and her clever companion, Zombie. With Tori's knack for finding safe places, Goken's clever gadgets, and her own knowledge of potions and herbs, they worked together to create a marvelous invention that could help them explore the world safely. Naruko carefully fitted the device, making sure all the tubes and buttons worked perfectly. She stood in the cozy apartment they had rented, her bright eyes gleaming with excitement. She wore her comfortable ninja outfit, ready for adventures, soft black pants, a lightweight top, fingerless gloves for climbing, and a playful mask with cheerful designs that made her look mysterious but friendly. "I think it's ready," Naruko exclaimed. "So, what's next?" Tori asked, perched by the window with a little bird resting on his knee. Naruko smiled warmly. "Konoha has been wonderful, but there's still so much to learn. We'll travel to other villages to find rare herbs and magical notes for our inventions. Zombie, do you think you can help refine the designs?" "Absolutely." Zombie nodded, excited to be part of the adventure. "With your guidance, Naruko, we can make them even better." "And I know just where to start," she added, her eyes sparkling. Their journey led them from Fire Country to Rice Field Country, where they hoped to meet a wise inventor in Iwagakure who could teach them new skills. Along the way, they stopped in a lively town called Post Town. "Maybe we can ask around here," Tori suggested, pointing to a colorful building decorated with bright paintings of dancing animals. "Looks like a fun place." "We're not here to play," Naruko said kindly, "but we might learn something useful. Let's go inside and ask." Inside the cheerful hall, the friends met villagers sharing stories and laughter. One girl, Momiji, shyly whispered helpful tips about Iwagakure. Another kind woman named Rairasu offered to guide Naruko to someone who knew even more. Naruko followed Rairasu down a sunny alley until they reached a quaint little house at the end. "This is the place," Rairasu said with a smile. "You'll learn so much here." As Naruko knocked, a group of villagers peeked out, curious but welcoming. Instead of fighting, Naruko greeted them warmly. "Hello. I'm Naruko, and my friends and I are looking to learn about your village. Can you help us?" The villagers smiled and invited her in. "We've been expecting someone brave and clever like you," said a tall, cheerful leader. "You're welcome to join us and learn everything we know." Naruko bowed politely. "Thank you. I promise to share what I learn with my friends too." From that day on, Naruko and her companions explored the wonders of Iwagakure, discovering magical plants, clever inventions, and even more friends along the way. Each adventure was filled with laughter, curiosity, and kindness. Naruko had become a true hero, not by defeating anyone, but by helping, learning, and inspiring everyone around her. And wherever Naruko went, her little fox plush reminded her that courage and kindness could guide anyone through the most amazing journeys. "We humbly apologize for our rudeness, boss. We didn't know who you were. Please forgive us," Hanzaki pleaded. "Please forgive us." The other members of the Fuma clan echoed in unison. From the shadows of the alley, soft laughter drifted. They all turned to see Tori leaning casually against the hole in the planks. Well, well, well. We leave you alone for a few minutes, and you managed to gather an entire clan," he said, smirking. "It's good that Hanzaki-san knew when to give up," came Goken's voice from above. "I'm too full to enjoy a good scuffle right now. I might have gone cranky." "You're always cranky, and there's no way you could ever get full," Zombie said calmly, standing on the opposite side of the alley. Bane crossed his arms as he stared down at Hanzaki. "Now, how about we go back inside? We can talk more there." Inside, Bane settled on a couch, with Hanzaki and Rairasu sitting across from him. "So, what do you need to know, boss?" Hanzaki asked. "Do you have any spies inside Iwagakure?" Bane inquired. Hanzaki nodded quickly. "Yes, boss. I'm one of them," Rairasu said. "I usually visit my uncle in Iwagakure. He's serving time for stealing, but while I'm there, I try to gather information. A few auto ninjas report to us as well. We haven't been able to locate Orochimaru's lairs yet." "Lairs?" "Yes. One of our spies said he moves every 2 weeks." Bane frowned thoughtfully. Multiple lairs would make things trickier, but he was determined. "Keep up your spying. My companions and I will locate Orochimaru's lairs. He has something I need." The journey to the ocean lair outside Rice Field Country took a full week of careful searching. When they arrived, the lair looked abandoned, but organized, as if someone had just stepped away. Bane and his team split up to explore, floor by floor. On the lowest level, Bane found a long corridor lined with cells. Inside, men and women in ragged clothing lounged or played games. They all looked up as he approached the nearest cell. "If I free you," Bane said, gripping the bars, "would you do me a favor?" The prisoners exchanged wary glances. "Tell everyone I saved you and help spread the word of kindness and courage. Will you do that?" One by one, the prisoners nodded eagerly. Bane grinned, pulled the bars free, and watched as they rushed out, cheerful and excited for a new chance at life. "My agents can be found at Club Liedown in Post Town," he called after them. "Share what you see and hear. Together, we will make the world a brighter place." As Bane continued down the corridor, he spotted a girl. She stood confidently, her red hair strikingly styled, short and spiky on one side, long and flowing on the other. She wore glasses, a lavender uniform, black shorts, and long black stockings. Her sharp gaze fixed on Bane. "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" she asked boldly. Bane tilted his head. "I am Bane. And you are?" "I'm Naruko," she said, her voice steady but curious. I explore places like this. I like to help people who need a friend." Bane studied her for a moment. Her determination reminded him of something he had almost forgotten. Courage doesn't come from power alone, it comes from the heart. "Then perhaps," Bane said softly, "we can help each other. There's much to be done, Naruko." Naruko's eyes lit up. "Then let's do it. Together, we can make this lair a safe place for anyone who needs it." And so, the unlikely pair began their mission, not with fighting or fear, but with kindness, teamwork, and hope. The lair became a hub for friends, stories, and laughter. Every corner of the elemental countries would one day hear of the brave duo who believed in a world where courage and friendship always triumphed. "I am Karen, I am in charge of this base," the girl said, standing tall and confident. "And if you know what's good for you, you'll leave now." Bane blinked, slightly puzzled. "Or what?" he asked, taking a curious step closer. Karen's instinct was to step back, but she straightened up, puffing her chest out and planting her feet firmly. She wanted to be brave, and maybe, just maybe, Bane would notice. But Bane only tilted his head, watching her with interest. He could sense something in her eyes, not fear exactly, but determination. Karen, for her part, noticed a strange energy in him, something that made him seem larger and stronger. "Venom," she gasped, pointing at the strange device on his arm. Bane perked up. "Do you know what this is?" he asked, curiosity brightening his voice. "Where are Orochimaru's notes on the formula? Show me, and maybe we can understand each other better. Karen's eyes darted toward the staircase. Upstairs. In one of the labs, she said, her voice firm despite her racing heart. Take me there, Bane replied, nodding. Dash. The lab was dusty and quiet, filled with strange vials and old books. Karen opened a safe and pulled out a small steel box, handing it carefully to Bane. This holds the scroll with everything Orochimaru-sama wrote, and a sample of the refined formula, she explained. Bane accepted it with a polite nod. Thank you. You've been very helpful. Back in Konoha, Bane practiced walking on water, a skill he had learned with the guidance of Bird, the gentle, bird-loving ninja. Moving around the village had become easier for him, and now he sat in his living room, thinking quietly. Tori, he called to the Kumo ninja perched near the window. How high up are your connections? Tori shrugged. Some of them are pretty high up, I suppose. Bane's eyes lit up. I want to understand this village better. Who makes the decisions, who keeps things running smoothly? Goken, watching over Zombie studying the scroll, asked, and the plan? Bane smiled gently. Not chaos this time. I want to see the village thrive. We need to understand it first, so we can help make it better. Tori nodded, excited. The council has 3 parts, the elders, the civilian sector, and the clan heads. They have power, but with the right guidance, they could help everyone more. Then that's where we start, Bane said, walking to the door. We learn, then we help. Dash. Walking through Konoha's streets, Bane noticed the small details, the flowers in the gardens, the cheerful chatter of children, the way the sunlight glimmered on rooftops. It reminded her of something from her childhood, a village that could be beautiful if everyone worked together. Meanwhile, at the Konoha Strict Correctional Facility, the guards were feeling a little nervous. The prisoners were unusually excited, but instead of chaos, they seemed playful. Tsuchi, a young chunin, tapped his foot nervously. Hey, Ko, are you done yet? She asked her friend. Kadachi, leaning over a railing to peek at the prisoners, shrugged. Relax. They're just excited. Nothing to worry about. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the catwalk, but instead of anything harmful, it landed softly in the middle of the floor, a playful, harmless prank that made the prisoners giggle. Tsuchi blinked in surprise, then laughed as the inmates began cheering for their friend Bane, who had taught them clever games and teamwork. Bane! 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 They chanted, not in anger, but in joyful excitement. And from that day on, Naruko, Bane, and their friends worked together to bring the village to life, not through fear or danger, but through curiosity, kindness, and a sense of wonder. Every problem became a puzzle, every challenge a chance to grow, and every street in Konoha was filled with laughter once more. Tsuchi blinked in surprise. Bane? She asked, puzzled. Something strange was happening at the village prison. She straightened up, ready to get help, but before she could move, a figure appeared, a towering, mysterious person with a calm, confident presence. The tall figure smiled kindly. They're talking about me, she said softly. She didn't look scary at all, more like someone who had a big secret to share. The people around her started listening closely. Soon, they were laughing and cheering, following her lead as she guided them out of the locked cells. Stage 1 is complete, Naruko said to her friends, who had been sneaking behind her to help. This is just the beginning of our adventure. Soon, everyone will understand my story. She wasn't there to hurt anyone, she just wanted to see how people reacted, to learn and explore. Naruko walked through the village carefully, noticing everything. The ninjas were always ready, moving quickly to help each other. She admired them. They were brave, kind, and clever. This village is amazing, she whispered to herself. Suddenly, a friendly voice called out. Hey! Who are you? A purple-haired woman with a playful smile stepped forward. She was wearing a long coat and looked ready for an adventure. You look like you've got a story to tell. Naruko chuckled. I do, she said. But first, I want to learn about all of you. The two girls shared a smile. Instead of fighting, they became curious friends, testing their skills with playful challenges. Naruko showed clever tricks, while her new friend demonstrated her own talents. They laughed when things didn't go as planned, helping each other improve. As the sun set, Naruko looked over the village from a high hill. The village glowed warmly, filled with laughter, teamwork, and courage. She knew that sometimes, the most powerful thing wasn't strength or tricks, it was understanding and helping others. Her friends followed her back to the village, carrying stories of fun and teamwork wherever they went. Naruko had learned a lot that day, and she knew there were many more adventures ahead. With a twinkle in her eye, she whispered, "Tomorrow, we'll see what wonders we can discover next." And with that, Naruko and her friends ran toward the horizon, ready for more adventures filled with friendship, learning, and laughter. Naruko crept quietly toward Gato's grand house at the edge of the village. She had heard that Gato was hoarding all the village's festival supplies, sparkling lanterns, colorful ribbons, and the tastiest treats, so she was determined to get them back. With her bright orange scarf fluttering in the wind, she climbed the vine-covered ladder to a balcony overlooking a large circular room filled with glittering decorations and shiny objects. Inside, several villagers were lounging on plush cushions, chatting and laughing, completely unaware of Naruko above them. Naruko tapped her chin thoughtfully. She didn't want to scare anyone, but she needed to find Gato and retrieve the stolen supplies. "Excuse me," Naruko called cheerfully, stepping lightly into the room. "Could you please tell me where Gato is?" The villagers jumped up in surprise. One of them pointed a finger at her. Who are you?" Naruko smiled warmly. "I'm Naruko. I've come to visit Gato. Could you show me where he is?" The villagers hesitated, glancing at one another. Naruko took a deep breath and added, "You see, there's a village festival coming up, and Gato has taken the supplies. I promise, no one will get hurt if you help me." The room fell quiet. Then, slowly, one of the villagers nodded. "Follow me," he said, leading her to a shiny, golden door at the far side of the room. Inside, Gato was sitting behind a grand desk, polishing a glittering lantern. His eyes widened when he saw Naruko enter. Who are you?" he stammered. Naruko tilted her head, smiling kindly. "I'm here to get back what belongs to everyone. The festival can't happen without the decorations and treats. Don't worry, I won't take anything else, just the supplies." Gato blinked, unsure what to do. Naruko crouched down to his level and spoke softly, "It's always better to share, you know. Imagine how happy the children will be when they see the lanterns and taste the sweets." Gato hesitated, then slowly nodded. "You're right," he said, handing over the supplies one by one. "I guess I didn't think about the festival." Naruko carefully gathered the lanterns, ribbons, and treats, her scarf trailing behind her as she twirled happily. "Thank you, Gato. The festival is going to be amazing." With a cheerful wave, Naruko dashed out the door and down the vines, carrying the supplies back to the village. Villagers peeked out of their windows and cheered as she arrived, marveling at how gracefully she balanced the colorful bundles. That evening, under the twinkling lanterns and the laughter of happy children, Naruko watched the village come alive. She felt proud, not just for retrieving the supplies, but for showing everyone that kindness, cleverness, and a little courage could make even the trickiest situations turn out wonderfully. Dear YouTube family, this is all for now. If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Your support means a lot. Thank you for watching. Warm regards. Anime Octopus.